Hi there, we are continuing with Unit 5.06. This is Part 2, Art of Central and South American Indians, the Temple of the Inscriptions. The Temple of the Inscriptions has 9 stepped terraces, each with a band of molding that adds to the horizontal appearance. On the top terrace is a temple whose walls are covered with stucco relief sculptures. A narrow stairway leads to the center of 5 doorways. A huge roof comb, an upright stone slab with carved reliefs, once stood atop the temple. The temple and roof comb were originally painted deep red, and the reliefs were painted in bright colors. On the walls inside the temple, extensive glyphs tell the story of Palenque and also give the structure its name. This Maya temple has a roof comb, which was a typical feature of Maya architecture. The comb increased the height of the structure. The designs and symbols on the roof combs of different temples had special meanings. So there's the roof comb. There's the inscriptions inside. These are the terraces. The sarcophagus of Lord Pekal on the inside, the stairway, and relief sculpture, and the temple. Maya burial rituals and portrait sculpture of Pekal. Most Maya people were buried in a simple grave along with symbolic items for them to use in the afterlife. Maize or corn nourished the spirit, and a bead was payment for entering the heavens. Maya rulers like Lord Pekal, however, had elaborate burials. Pekal's tomb was dug beneath the Temple of the Inscriptions, hidden by a secret door that led to a long tunnel into the tomb. Pekal wore a jade funeral mask and lay in a stone sarcophagus carved with a scene showing the moment of his death and transition to the spirit world. Sculptures, jade, pottery, shells, and other offerings to Lord Pekal filled the tomb. The stucco portrait sculpture shown here represents the Mayan sense of ideal beauty. Pekal is young and also has an elongated curved nose and forehead. The Maya associated their rulers with the maize god, so Pekal's headdress contains maize leaves. His hair swept upward away from his ears resembles maize leaves or a maize silk. One summer day in 1911, a group led by an American explorer set out on a mule train in search of the fabled Inca city in Peru. They wound their way up the steep slopes of the Andes Mountains to the ruins of a large group of stone structures. Dense plants covered the buildings. When workers cleared away the vegetation, they discovered magnificent houses, temples, palaces, and courtyards. Built in the 1400s on a high peak in the Andes, the Inca city of Machu Picchu is called the City in the Clouds. In the morning, ethereal clouds often surround the ancient ruins. Inca Textiles. People who live high in the mountains need warm clothing. Inca women, since ancient times, have been weaving strong, warm cloth made of hair trimmed from alpacas, animals native to Peru. Alpaca wool has many natural and neutral shades. When the Inca want bright colors, they soak the alpaca wool in dyes made from various plants, insects, and snails. After spinning the wool into yarn, weavers weave the yarn on a backstrap loom. To use a backstrap loom, the weaver straps a rope tied to one end of the loom around her waist and ties the other end to a tree or post. She guides the horizontal weft threads over and under vertical warp threads to make a sturdy cloth. At the end of the day, she simply unties the loom and rolls it up for the next day. And here we see a woman working one. We won't show all of that. You can come back into the content if you like. Inca Ponchos. To this day, many Inca wear their traditional hand-woven ponchos. To make ponchos like the one in this section, Inca weavers fold a piece of cloth and sew up the sides, leaving armholes. They cut a slit at the top so they can slip the poncho over their head, much like our rain ponchos today. Weavers often sew colorful threads as finishing touches. Each region uses different colors and patterns that have special meaning, so each poncho shows the regional identity of the wearer. Colors and patterns also represent Inca beliefs and myths. Emperors and nobles wore the brightest ponchos with the most complex patterns as a sign of wealth and status. The Inca traditionally placed such high value on ponchos that they even offered them to their gods and buried them with the dead in tombs.